Doya koro sitapati Advaita Gosai Doya koro sitapati Advaita Gosai Tava kripa bole pai Chaitanya Nitai Tava kripa bole pai Chaitanya Nitai Haha swahu Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha Vatayuga Shri Jiva Prabhu Lokanatha Vatayuga Shri Jiva Prabhu Lokanatha Daya Koro Sri Acharya Prabhu Srinivasa Daya Koro Sri Acharya Prabhu Srinivasa Ramachandra Sangamagi Narottama Dasa Ramachandra Sangamagi Narottama Dasa Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koro More Daya koro more Toma vina ke doyalo Jagata samsare Toma vina ke doyalo Jagata samsare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koro More, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Toma Vina Kedoyalo Jagata Samsare, Toma Vina Kedoyalo Jagata Samsare. Jai Shri Narottam Das Thakur ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Giri Govardhan ki, Shri Lakshmi Nrsimhadev ki, Shri Radha Govinda Madhava ki, Numayapur Dham ki, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki, Julana Yatra ki, Nagar Sankirtanam ki, Brihat Mridanga ki, Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Vastachari Shatarine. So this morning we're reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita on Saturdays, and we have a slight change in the verse, so we just open the book on this page and it looked nice. This is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila chapter 7, text number 92. And just a little thing, do we have enough devotees cutting vegetables or we need more?
It's okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. We certainly do need, we're very happy to have this wonderful opportunity of your association. We thank you all for coming so much. At the same time, we do have sometimes still maybe some logistical, exciting logistical challenges. especially in the departments of the kitchen. And if anyone is, let's say, experienced in the kitchen, and you want to really have an experience, we have opportunities, I believe. And the person to see is probably Janananda. I don't think he's here right now. He's in the kitchen. He's the temple president along with Namacharya Prabhu. And you may not even see him. He's busy as anything behind the scenes on the altar and running around everywhere. But if anyone does, it's a golden opportunity. Imagine cooking for Krishna Balaram, cooking for Radha Govinda Madhava, Gaurnitai, and so on. It's a golden opportunity, and we used to dream of such opportunities in the earlier years of our lives. And anyway, you see Janananda Prabhu if you're, they, of course there's lots of room for help in cleaning and this and that, but also in helping the cooks or even cooking. If you're that experienced, you can probably get in there. So that's up to you and your organizers. But there are spots, and we definitely don't want to be in a position where there's not enough prasadam, that's for sure. We want to make sure that doesn't happen. That's why the temple president's in the kitchen right now. He's also a professional cook, by the way. Totally professional. He's cooked in big restaurants in the world outside of ISKCON, and hotels and all sorts of things. So he's quite an experienced cook. So today we're also, we will, Krishna willing. Is Gandharvika here? Is it okay to go to tours with the mayor?
Yeah, the mayor didn't say anything against, and I called the police also, they didn't say anything against, but we will be limited by our cars. So I don't think more than 40 or 50 devotees.
Is it? Okay, well, there's no limit otherwise, is it?
No.
Okay, I will just mention one thing in case. In the city of Tours, it's a really nice city for Sankirtan, quite busy, and it's a beautiful city. And on top of that, they have tram lines. Now, many European cities have tram lines. Perhaps in Stockholm you have tram lines, is it? Madrid, you have tram lines? Who's from Madrid?
No, not in Madrid.
Not in Barcelona?
Barcelona, yes.
They have trams, huh? So some cities they have trams. Well, Tours is one of those cities where they have trams. So we have to be really careful, because the footpath, the tram line goes right down the main street, both ways, boom, boom. And the footpath is not that wide in places. So please bear that in mind, both from the point of view of the devotees going, and especially also the public, that we don't kind of like bot public out and then suddenly a tram comes along, because they come very frequently. So please bear that in mind. We have to keep probably in lines, at least in that area where the trams are. Where there are areas where there are no trams, but at least in those areas, which is most of the way. But let's see. So please be conscious of that, and don't block shops, because then, they want to do their business too. And be very conscious like that. But otherwise, it's a very blissful city for Harinam. And if the cars allow, as many of you as can. Also, of course, we do have to remember that Julan Yatra, I presume, will still be going on here. So obviously some devotees will be staying back for Julan Yatra. And we hope that some devotees will volunteer or have already arranged that there will be some cooking going on. Otherwise we're going to get back from tours and we're all going to have to go in the kitchen and cook up some pasta or something. But we hope that something can be there. And we need to leave fairly sharply, not too late, please. Try to be ready on time, straight after lunch, prasadam, which will be at 1:30, we hope. And then we leave straight after lunch, and we hope to get out by 2:30. Have the cars here, don't kind of like start getting ready. Try to have if you have a car, have it here by 2:30 and then or more, earlier. And then we can all get on board. Okay, so we're reading from...
Guru Maharaj?
Yes.
I wanted to mention something. On the board, everything, so everyone put his name who wants to go,
Yes.
Everyone who can take his car can put a mark. Like this we know who can take his car.
And how many people?
And how many people can
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Okay, you get that? So if you have a car and you are going, and you have put your name on the board, some, I don't know what type of mark, there's some mark there, you can put 5 next to it or something, or 4. Excluding yourself or including yourself? Including yourself, okay. So if that means if you're the driver or something, you put 5 or 4, whatever your car can handle. Or if you've got a smart car, maybe 2, whatever you've got. Okay, here we go. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Nacha Gao Bhakta Sange Kara Sankirtana Krishna Nam Upadeshi Tar Sarvajan. You have to excuse, I'm going to have to put this down. My glasses are all steaming up. That's one of the problems with these things, if you wear glasses, you know. Sometimes the steams and I can't see.
You can take it off.
Huh?
You can take it off.
Is it allowed?
You're
Okay.
very far from all of us.
I'm far from all of you, so you're safe. You're all safe from me. You're all safe, okay. Nacha Gao Bhakta Sangikara Sankirtan. Krishna Nama Upadeshi Tara Sarvajan. Nacho Gao Bhakta Sangikara Sankirtan. Krishna Nama Upadeshi Tara Sarvajan. Nachagayo Bhakta Sangikara Sankirtan. Krishna Nama Upadeshi Tara Sarvajan. Nachogaya Bhakta Sangikara Sankirtan. Krishna Nama Upadeshi Tara Sarvajan. Nachogai Bhakta Sangikara Sankirtan. Krishna Nama Upadeshi Tara Sarvajan. Anyone else? Bhakta Sangikara Sankirtan. Krishna Nama Upadeshi Tara Sarvajan. Nachogaya Bhakta Sangikara Sankirtan. Krishna Nama Upadeshi Tara Sarvajan. Nachogaya Bhakta Sangikara Sankirtan. Krishna Nama Upadeshi Tara Sarvajan. Nachogaya Bhakta Sangikara Sankirtan. Krishna Nama Upadeshitara Sarvadam. Ladies. Okay, stop. Bhakta Sangikara Sanketam. Krishna Nama Upadeshitara Sarvadam. Nachagaya Bhakta Sangikara Sanketam. Krishna Nama Upadeshi Saranam. Nachagaya Bhakta Sangikara Sanketam. Krishna Nama Upadeshi Saranam. Nata.
Nata.
Go on dancing.
Go on dancing.
Go.
Go.
Chant.
Chant.
Bhakta Sanghe.
Bhakta Sanghe.
In the society of devotees.
In the society of devotees.
Kara.
Kara.
Continue.
Continue.
Sankirtan.
Sankirtan.
Chanting the holy name.
Chanting the holy name.
In assembly.
Assembly.
Krishna Nam.
Krishna Nam.
The holy name of Krishna.
The holy name of Krishna.
Upadeshi.
Upadeshi.
By instructing.
By instructing.
Tara.
Tara.
Deliver.
Deliver.
Sarvajan.
Sarvadam.
All fallen souls.
All fallen souls.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. My dear child. Okay, let me ask, who knows who is speaking to who? That's a little clue. My dear child. And if you listen to the word for word, you may get an idea what is the subject matter. My dear child. Who's speaking? Not me. Who's speaking? Haridam. Continue dancing, chanting, and performing Sankirtan in the association of devotees. Anyone knows who's speaking? No. Ishwara Puri, correct. Any Ishwara Puris here? Anyone have that name? Ishwara Puri, and who is he speaking to? Okay, very good. Very good. But you're not with the Erasmus group. Sundar Gopal Prabhu he's running our restaurant in Tours. We have a very nice restaurant in the city of Tours. So he's running the restaurant with others, and they're not here at the moment, they're coming. But it just started last year. It's, of course, during the lockdown, there was things haven't quite picked up as they were before, but it's coming along. They're taking a little break for the festivals, but a very old member of our community here. So yes, in the association of devotees, he's saying, continue. He's preaching. He's not just preaching to a new bhakta, right? He's preaching to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In what sense? Is Lord Chaitanya preaching through Ishwara Puri to us? That's how it works. Furthermore, it's nice, dance, chant, perform Sankirtan in the association of devotees, but furthermore, more than that, what else is he saying to do? Other than Sundar Gopal Prabhu, please.
Chant Krishna's holy name.
Oh, yeah, he said continue dancing, chanting and performing Sankirtan, which is chanting Krishna's name. Pardon? Preach to the ants, exactly, yeah. To the trees, the birds, the ants, the mosquitoes, everybody, everything. In fact, it is. The Sankirtan movement preaches to all, isn't it? Everyone benefits.
Association of devotees.
Pardon?
In association of devotees.
Okay, very good. Yes, here he says, furthermore, go out and preach the value of chanting Krishna Nam, the name of Krishna. Preach the value of chanting. For by this process, what happens? By this process you will...
Be purified.
Pardon?
Purified.
Well, hopefully. You will be able to...
Go back.
you're way ahead of me. You will be able to... That's definitely connected to going back to Godhead, I think. We hope so. In fact, it is stated in the later sections of this Chaitanya Charitamrita that Lord Chaitanya has come for two reasons, and as you may know, internal and external. The internal reason is to taste prasadam. Oh, sorry, in the stomach, internal. Huh?
Taste Radha's love.
Taste what love?
Love of Radha.
Love of Radha. Radha Prem. Well, yes and no. He's in the mood of Radharani, so his mood is, he wants to taste, yes, you could say Radha Prem, exactly in that sense. Of course, we usually say love of God. To taste that love of God, which Radharani is experiencing, which Krishna cannot experience. It's amazing, something which Krishna cannot experience. So he takes this form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to experience what Srimati Radharani is experiencing. Internal, very confidential, not exactly, you could say, something which we preach about. But he did preach externally. And what did he do? So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears for two reasons. One, an internal reason, to experience love of Godhead in the mood of Radharani. And secondly, what else did he, what's the other point?
Deliver the fallen soul.
Yeah, and by the performance, he delivering the fallen souls is a secondary thing. It's interesting because to experience love of God, literally by the congregational chanting of the holy name. This is the method. It's not just something we do to deliver others. It's actually the method of awakening or becoming eligible to be bestowed the mercy of Krishna, that love of Godhead manifests in the heart. When one's absorbed in congregational chanting and holy, it's the Yuga Dharma, as you all know, Kali Kalera, Yuga Dharma Nama Sankirtanam, is the Dharma, the religious practice for Kali Yuga is the chanting of the holy name. And it's not just a religious practice or a Dharma, it is the means to awaken that love of God, if we hear it from the right source. And Lord Chaitanya is the, you could say, the completeness of the right source. So he's giving this instruction to all of us. And then, along with his associates, he preached the Sankirtan and delivered all the fallen conditioned souls by this process. Although the fallen conditioned souls may not be thinking of the internal purpose, we're thinking of purification, we're thinking of freedom from sins, we're thinking of, things like that. But the performance of Sankirtan, simultaneously, both things go on. The purification and the awakening of our dormant love of God. This is the special aspect of Sankirtanam. Is particularly the Maha Mantra, very powerful in awakening or purifying and awakening our love of Godhead. And thus, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wove. This word wove, you know what wove means? Everybody knows what wove means? No, wove. What does wove mean? Not wave, wove.
Binding.
Binding.
Binding something.
Yeah, binding. You could make it very simple. You could say like sewing. You know when you're making deity dresses, you sew. It's weaving. Weave. You've heard the word weaving? So wove means you did it, or like that. It's the past tense or something. You wove. So he wove, and he sewed, whatever you want to call it, weaved a garland. You know, the similar thing. You know, you make a garland with flowers and your string, and you put the flowers on it. You make a garland. So he wove a wreath. You know what a wreath is? A wreath. Here, perhaps you've not been to a cemetery. I mean, in one sense, the whole world's like a cemetery, but a specific place within the world called a cemetery. And oftentimes you see people, they bring what they call a wreath. It's a round, completely round, with flowers, you know, right, usually roses or something. And that's called a wreath. So Lord Chaitanya wove a wreath of Prem Sankirtan, love of Godhead and congregational chanting, with which he garlanded the entire material world. This is his mission. We may not see it, people are not even aware of it, but this is the Lord Chaitanya's mission is going on like this. In the purport, Prabhupada says, it is another ambition of the spiritual master to see his disciples not only chant, dance and follow the regulated principles. Tell you simple, how you please. I think I was in London somewhere. Prabhupada, one man came and brought a big donation, and Prabhupada, thank you very much, but he was much more pleased, and there's a purport here in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I don't think it's this one. There's a purport where Prabhupada says the spiritual master is not pleased when someone brings his money, but he's pleased when he sees his followers following the regulated principles of devotional service. Now that doesn't mean to say that he's not pleased if someone does some service. That's not the point. The point is what really pleases him, the whole purpose of bringing money, the whole purpose of all the various opportunities that people have to connect, is that we take up devotional service. So that's what really pleases the spiritual master the most. When one is actually, that's a big sacrifice. In Kali Yuga, that is the yajna, you know. It's not so much giving things, that's great too. But it's really the yajna of, you know, following regulated principles. And you all know, it's not always so easy. Not always so easy. But we try. Following the regulated principles and chanting the holy name of Krishna. But that's so nice. Dance and follow regulated principles. So he's very happy when he sees that. The disciples chant, dance and follow the regulated principles. He's happy. But also, he's very, very happy when he sees that they preach the Sankirtan movement to others to deliver them. Now, how can we make spiritual progress? What's the method? What's the method of making spiritual progress?
Chanting without offense.
Good. But that we hear from somebody, isn't it? Who do we hear from? Okay, being very specific, we heard it from Prabhupada. In principle, we hear it from the spiritual masters. We hear it from the pure devotees. Pardon? You heard it from Haridas Thakur, right? Where is he? In the forest somewhere. Yes. We have Bainapol in the forest out there somewhere, you know. Oh, very good, thank you. Good. So yeah, through the line of Parampara, through pure devotees, we hear this instruction how to chant purely. But even that is the process, you could say, the practice. But in a sense, it doesn't entirely depend on that. It's not a mechanical thing. You know, in Prabhupada writes that the awakening of our dormant love of God does not at all depend upon the mechanical process of chanting and hearing. That's going on. That's what we're asked to do, or that's the process which we're meant to apply in our lives. And that usually, what does happen then is it usually evokes, if we do it and not just concoct our own idea, we have a tendency to do it our way, you know, the way I like it. Well, in the beginning that may be understandable, but if we really, really want to go back to Godhead, if we really want to please Krishna, then we do it the way which is recommended by Krishna's devotee. So we get into the point, and Prabhupada then says, the awakening of our dormant love of God depends wholly and solely on what?
On devotion service?
It's obviously it's not it's correct, but specifically.
The mercy of the spiritual master.
And that is, yes, it's true. Ultimately, it's the mercy of Krishna. But how do we get the mercy of Krishna? You may have been here for Mangalarti. I'm not going to embarrass anyone who was or wasn't. But you're probably familiar with the song which we sing at Mangalarti, isn't it? What do we sing at Mangalarti? Very good. Samsara Davanala Gravastakam prayers. And the last one is Yasyat Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado Yashat Prasadan Nagati Katopi Dayam Stuvam Stasya Yasastri Sandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda. Krishna sends the spiritual master. By the mercy of Krishna, one gets a spiritual master. They don't grow on trees. By the mercy of Krishna, one gets a spiritual master. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one gets Krishna. So you're correct, the mercy of the spiritual master, but ultimately, the spiritual is Krishna who delivers. If you read Prabhupada's prayers, Markane Bhagavat Dharma, you'll see that Prabhupada said, by your will, the living entities have come into this material world. And by your will, they can be delivered. And Prabhupada writes, it is my desire that you please deliver them. But, it's not within any individual's power to do that. But when the spiritual master is pleased with the disciple, naturally Krishna is pleased. And naturally he's going to give his mercy. Naturally. His mercy is already there through the spiritual master, giving us a process, giving us, as some of you said, devotional service, chanting the holy name, this, that. This is also Krishna's mercy coming to us, but we really have to take it. It's like, somebody offers us a lot of money, we have to take it. It's not much use otherwise. You've got to use it. Money is also useless unless you use it, isn't it? What's the use of having a billion euros in the bank if you don't use it? Not much use. It's good for the bank. They're happy. They're quite happy if you don't use it. They'll use it. But from our point of view, we have to use it. So the mercy is there. We've got the holy name and devotional service and the association of devotees, etc. But we've got to use it. So this is how we use it. We preach the Sankirtan movement to others in order to deliver them. For the Krishna consciousness movement is based on the principle that one should become as perfect as possible in devotional service oneself and also preach the cult for others' benefit. We shouldn't be misers. Misers. Prabhupada was very much always reminding devotees of this. We have something to offer it. Knowledge, talents, whatever, enthusiasm, whatever it is. Everyone's got something. So use it. Use it for Krishna. Otherwise we'll lose it. Prabhupada said to Jamuna one time, he asked her famous cook, Jamuna Devi, are you teaching the girls how to cook, he said. And Jamuna was doing something else at that time. She wasn't really teaching the girls at that time. And Prabhupada said, if you don't teach them how to cook because you've got that talent, you'll become envious. This is how we get free of envy. By whatever gifts we've been given, we offer them to Krishna by sharing it with others. There are two classes of unalloyed devotees. You know what unalloyed means? Because English is your second language, almost everyone here. What does unalloyed mean? Pardon?
No mixture. No mixture.
No mixture. Okay, that's very good. Nothing mixed in. And even with metal, if you get iron or something, you get alloys and you get pure metals, You get mixtures, like aluminium or steel or something. I don't know steel, but aluminium is not a pure metal, it's a mixture. So pure, unalloyed, without any mixing. Anyabhilasita shunyam jnana karma janavitam. There's no mixing there. So 2 kinds of unalloyed devotees. Who knows what they are? 2 kinds of unalloyed. That means pure. Pure. Unalloyed is pure. 2 kinds. Anyone know? Spanish, Swedish, French. What else? Other languages we have here? German. Any other languages? Indian, Hindi? No, I don't think so. Maybe Hindi. Yeah. What are the 2 kinds of unalloyed devotees? Okay.
I don't know if it's Uttamadhikari or Madhyamadhikari.
Who said that? A good suggestion. A very good suggestion. No. But Madhyamadhikaris, if they're falling on Uttama purely, you could say they are pure devotees also. But in one sense, they're not in that same category. Danya Taipo?
There is a Nitya Siddha and the Kripa Siddha.
Okay, that's another nice answer, but that's not what Prabhupada's saying here. Nitya Siddha, the eternal, actually Nitya Siddhas are the eternally liberated souls who may come in. The Kripa Siddha or the Sadhana Siddhas are those, by mercy of the pure devotees, become also on that same level of eternal associates. Same with the sadhanas. So you could say that, but that's not. 2 kinds, okay. Because we're referring to preaching, don't forget. We're referring to a topic here. Yes. Hand went up. Huh? Very good. You got it. Spain?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. We have lots of Goswamis in Spain, huh? Goswamis and Bhajananandis. How many of you are Goswamis? Any ghosts? Blissful ghosts, is that what it means? Blissful ghosts? How many? What's a Goswanandi?
Preaching.
Pardon?
Preaching.
Preacher, one who wants to share the pure message of Krishna consciousness. And the Bhajanandis, they're on the same level maybe of realization, but they're basically referring to one who is satisfied to cultivate devotional service for himself. And Goswanandi is one who is not satisfied simply to become perfect himself, but wants to see others also take advantage of the holy name of the Lord and advance in spiritual life. None of us would be here today if there was no Goswanandis in this world, because they don't generally preach. We're all here today because Prabhupada alone came to the Western world and preached, and everywhere. The outstanding example is Prahlad Maharaj. When he was offered a benediction by Lord Nrsingadev, Prahlad Maharaj said, what did he say? You won't, I don't expect anyone will know this. Maybe you do. Okay, it's more or less, it's good, okay, very good. Naivo dvijay para dhiratyaya vaitaranyas tvadvirya gayana mahamrita magna chitaha shocetato vimukha cetasa indriyata maya sukhaya baram udvahato vimudan. My dear Lord, I have no problems. I don't know if any of you would say that. He says, I have no problems. Pretty good, huh? And want no benediction from you. It doesn't help us much, does it? Because I am quite satisfied to chant your holy names. He's got everything. What do I want? Because I'm very satisfied just chanting your holy names. This is sufficient for me, because whenever I chant, I immediately merge in an ocean of transcendental bliss. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. We're all looking for bliss. Huh? Looking for the bliss. Looking for the bliss. I was listening to Mangalananda Prabhu's, one of his songs is called Looking for the Bliss. Have anyone heard that song? Looking for the Bliss? I'm not suggesting you hear it. It's amazing. It's actually quite amazing, He's a very humble person. But it's about when he was traveling on the Radha Damodar party with Vishnu Jan Swami, And it's very, very nice. And how much he is the most blissful thing he ever experienced in his life. Yeah. So this is sufficient because I merge in an ocean of transcendental bliss when he chants the holy name. Because we're all looking for that bliss in various ways. We don't get it in the material world. You only get a little reflection of it in some kind of reduction of suffering or some excitement or something. I only lament, however, he says, to see others bereft of your love. This is his suffering. Paradukha dukhi, it's a pure devotee suffers due to the suffering of others. You are rotting. Excuse me. They are rotting. Rotting. You know what rotting means? Does everyone know what rotting means? Anyone? You know, rotting? Something's rotting. You could say rotten. Rotten is when something is rotted, or it's in the process of becoming rotten. It's rotting. It's anyway, what to do? We're in a rot. They are rotting. In other words, just self-destruction. They are rotting in material activities. Why? For transient, temporary, that means, material pleasure, and spoiling their lives. Toiling. You know what toiling means? Toil. Toiling.
Wasting?
Wasting? Could be. It doesn't always mean wasting. It can do. Struggling, working hard, struggling, like that. Toiling. All day and night, simply for sense gratification, with no attachment for love of Godhead. I'm simply lamenting for them and devising various plans to deliver them from the clutches of Maya. So this is, one time Prabhupada said that if we can control our minds, of course for you it's very easy, I'm sure. Very easy to control the mind, right, Sandy? What's that mean?
Not so much.
Not so much. It's very easy for the mind to be controlled by Maya, but it's hard for us to control the mind. So Prabhupada said that, the way many ways you could say other things too, but he said, in this case, he said, by always planning how to spread Krishna consciousness, thinking what I can do to help spread the holy name or Krishna consciousness to others. So he's simply lamenting for them and devising various plans to deliver them from the clutches of Maya. As Prabhupada did, he was always planning how to spread Krishna consciousness. And you can see, I think in Sweden, you still have that restaurant in Sweden? Who's from Sweden? You guys from Sweden? You still have a restaurant in Stockholm? We lost it a few years ago, didn't we? But the principle's there. Through restaurants, you have farms, through gurukuls, through many ways, especially book distribution. That's something to taste if you haven't already done it. You've got to take that. It's just something very, very special. Yes, it's a little difficult, little sacrifice, but there's extra special mercy there. It's like front line in the army or something. Very special. And of course, Harinam Sankirtan, opening up centers like this. It's in many other ways now, internet preaching, so many things are there. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains in his Anubhasya, a person who has attracted the attention of the spiritual master by his sincere service likes to dance and chant with simile developed Krishna conscious devotees. So this afternoon we see what Krishna mercy bestowed upon us, but we're hoping to go and dance and chant in tours. You do it in the temple, everywhere. I said the other day, Prabhupada said Sankirtan should always be going on, not just out there, but in here also. The spiritual master authorizes such a devotee to deliver fallen souls in all parts of the world. That's why this movement spread. We may not be Uttama Bhagavats. We may not even be Madhyam Bhagavats. We're just struggling, or Madhyam Adhikaras. We're just struggling to chant. But by being empowered by the pure devotees of the Lord, even anyone can spread Krishna consciousness if we take that mercy. Those who are not advanced prefer to chant the Hare Krishna mantra in a solitary place. Such activities constitute, in the language of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, a type of cheating process, in the sense that they imitate the activities of exalted personalities like Haridas Thakur. I think we read that even this morning. One should not attempt to imitate such exalted devotees. Rather, everyone should endeavor to preach the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in all parts of the world and thus become successful in spiritual life. Prabhupada, many times he said, everyone should go out and preach. It's where the nectar lies. Everyone should go out and preach. And he said, the temple is not a place for eating and sleeping. It's a place, where we send out, the devotees go out like a base to preach. Because we preach in the temple too. But especially to go out and bring people to the temple to preach. That was the mood, very much the mood of the devotees. Only one time he said, you can just leave one devotee back. Everybody else should go out on Sankirtan. Because it wasn't realistically possible, but the point is there, that the importance of going out and preaching Krishna consciousness is the way that we get that mercy of Lord Chaitanya. One who is not very, we read that, I think, and it's blah, 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 blah. One who is not very expert in preaching may chant in a secluded place, avoiding bad association. But for one who is actually advanced, preaching and meeting people who are not engaged in devotional service are not disadvantages. A devotee gives the non-devotees his association, but is not affected by their misbehavior. Thus, by the activities of a pure devotee, even those who are bereft of love of Godhead get a chance to become devotees of the Lord one day. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur advises that one discuss the verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Naitat Samachareshya Manasapi Yanishvaraha, and the following verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It would be interesting to know what that says. I can't remember. 10:33:31. I don't know if we got it here. Bhagavatam 10:33:31. Anasaktasya vishayanyataramapayanjata nibandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam varagya uchate. That's from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. One should not imitate the activities of great personalities. One should be detached from material enjoyment and should accept everything in connection with Krishna's service. And the wonderful thing about this movement is anyone who's working in cooperation, even though we're not able or willing or whatever, to go out and actually preach, but to assist in this mission. We can assist in this mission. They say an army marches on its stomach, for instance. You can assist by cooking or cleaning the temple to inspire the devotees.
10:30:31.
10:33:31. Thank you very much, John. 10:33. Let's just read it. I hope that the reference is correct. 10:33. Yeah, it does have a few verses in here. 31. I'm going to finish on this. Oh, what is that? 10:33:31. Right, that. Doesn't look like that's the same verse. Oh, it's the previous. It's wrong. It's incorrect. It's text 30. Naitat samacharejyato manasapi yanishvaraha vinasyacharam mumudyad yatarudo dijang visham. One who is not a great controller should never imitate the behavior of ruling personalities, even mentally. If out of foolishness an ordinary person does imitate such behavior, he will simply destroy himself, just as a person who is not Rudra would destroy himself if he tried to drink an ocean of poison. So not a good idea to drink an ocean of poison. Of course that also Prabhupada refers that to be is there something stuck in it? In relationship to taking intoxications. But whatever it is, pretty much everyone's drinking poison in this world. So we have to try to give them nectar to revive us. We need to be revived. To revive us the nectar of Krishna consciousness. So please take this opportunity wherever we are. Dance, chant with devotees. As much kirtan as you can, please. Inside, outside, wherever it is. And whatever service you can render. Let us try to absorb ourselves in that ocean of devotion. Back to your Samrita Sindhu. And achieve all these points you mentioned. Love of God, back to Godhead, purification of the heart, delivering the fallen souls. On and on we may go. But this is the process. Absorb ourselves under the direct guidance of a pure devotee of the Lord in devotional service and try to be sincere. Krishna will do the rest. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. So, Haribol. Any questions? Any questions? I can't. It's funny when you got a mask on, you can't see, isn't it? How much you know what a person's thinking by looking at their. This part doesn't show so much. The eyes a little bit, but not so much. But especially around the mouth and the cheeks and everything, you get a lot of impressions there. Oh, you ducked. Yes, someone had a question or comment. Okay.
It's a common question. It came to my mind. It's interesting that Prahlad was saying that I don't need anything, like because I have the holy name.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was coming to my mind. He said pure the body, but at the same time we have Kunti that is saying I want something. I want problems in my life because when I face a problem, I surrender to Krishna and I ask for Krishna's mercy. So it's very interesting how different pure devotees face life in different ways. So how is this that there is not like a standard pure devotee, that every devotee is different and face life in different ways?
Isn't that wonderful? It'd be pretty boring if you had like standard pure devotees. You could produce them. I was talking to Krishna Kshetra Maharaj one time. You know Krishna Kshetra Maharaj?
Yeah.
Well, this is going back about 30 years ago, 1980s. He wasn't Maharaj then, neither was I. And I was saying, he was the minister of deity worship, whenever that was, late 80s, I think it was. And I said, we're really having a problem getting pujaris in our area, And he said, he sort of said, same thing in so many other places, you're not the only one. He said, but don't worry, we're going to solve the problem very soon. We're working on it, he said. We're manufacturing a robot pujari, a perfect pujari, who will be there on time every day, exactly offering the circles perfectly, chanting the mantras perfectly, on time. And they'll be available to the temples in ISKCON very shortly. And of course, he was kind of joking, but you can't get that, it doesn't work. Variety is the spice of life. Every pure devotee is different, and they have their uniqueness and their unique relationship with Krishna. But there is one common denominator, whether it's Queen Kunti saying, why? What is the common denominator? What reminds you of Krishna, what reminds someone else of Krishna may vary. And that may vary too in our lives as we grow, mature, or whatever happens. Different things. I mean, we see in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives them so many things that can remind you of him. Different people are in different positions, and they're teaching people who are conditioned also, like Kunti is not a conditioned soul. she's teaching conditioned souls, because we're faced with problems upside down, inside out. So she's showing us also that this good opportunity to remember Krishna. So different situations are being taught by the pure devotees of Lord, but they're also individuals, and they have a different, different things where impetuses for remembering Krishna are there. But the main thing is remembering Krishna. They have one thing in common. No matter what it is, they're all, focused on remembering Krishna, as we hear in the Nectar of Devotion, isn't it? That the main principle is always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, right? Always remember. Smartavya, what's that? Smartavya, Satam Vishnu, Vishmatavya, Jatachit. Always remember Krishna, never forget him. That's their principle, whatever it is. And they're showing us how to do that too. Different time, place, and circumstance. She was put into difficulties again and again and again. So was Prahlad Maharaj. But he's teaching us, like same with Srila Haridas Thakur, being beaten in the marketplaces left, right, and center. And he's simply chanting Hare Krishna and smiling. And nobody could believe what's his thinking, what's his smiling, what's it happening here. So different situation. The Vishwanath Chakravarti said that's the main principle being taught here. No matter what the situation you're in, whatever difficulty you're in, chant the holy name of Krishna. Chant Krishna's name. Draupadi, this one. They're all teaching it. Almost all the pure devotees go through these, and they show us different aspects. Individuals. We're individuals. We're not all the same. Baba said that's Mayavad to think we're all the same. Good point. Anything else? Sandy?
What is to preach Krishna consciousness? There has to be some level of kind of qualification. So what is the basic qualifications in order to
preach?
Krishna consciousness?
Simply to be empowered by a pure devotee. Anyone can preach. Prabhupada was saying with Saraswati, a little tiny girl, Saraswati, the daughter of Malati. What she know? She's perfect preaching, Prabhupada said. She'd just go out and say to people, Krishna's God. Do you know who God is? Do you know who God is? A little girl. Whatever they say. Krishna's God. Krishna's God. So it's not a matter of, having to have a Bhakti Shastri or Bhakti Vedanta or Bhakti Vaibhav or Bhakti Sarvabhauma, or have to be in the movement 15 years, and you have to, be tried, tested, this, that, the other. When I first went to the temple, I'd never been to the temple before in my life. I arrived in Bury Place, 1971. The very first day, I was dressed. We have one young Chinese boy here named Jun. And he's got his hair up like this. But when he lets his hair down, it's down here. It's long. My hair was down like that. We came to the temple in jeans and t-shirt. And they had me out preaching on that first afternoon. I'd never seen a devotee in my life before. And I was out on Sankirtan. Stuffed me with prasadam, and half an hour later I'm on Oxford Street on Sankirtan. Didn't know what's going on, but it's like that was the mood. Right now you start. You don't wait. This is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Anyone can do it. Just have to be, someone other empowered. I mean, they just. I had no idea what Sankirtan was. I said to the devotees, they said, hey, would you like to come on Sankirtan? See, they would test us, you see. They would test to see how much prasadam you eat. That was the test, whether you were a potential devotee or not. And, somehow or other, I managed to gulp down one massive plate of prasadam. So, and I was still there. And so I remember the devotee who asked me, his name was Sambanath. You don't probably know him unless you're from Australia. He's gone to Australia now, but he said, would you like to come on Sankirtan? I said, what's Sankirtan? He said, it's bliss, it's nectar. That was his only answer. It's bliss and nectar. And I didn't really have much choice. It was like a wave. Boom. We were out on the street. Second time they had me distributing magazines, trying to sell magazines on Oxford Street. It's like, of course you could say it's nice to get a little bit more prepared, but there's no like point where, okay, when you get over that point, 1.73245 6% qualified, you can start preaching. You know, there is no point. You start when you start, and whatever you know, you give. Don't know anything, just chant Hare Krishna and just say it's nice. If all you know, well, I just had a good meal at that place, it's really good. Why don't you go along and have something to eat? It's really fantastic food. That's all you got, just say that, you know. I took a whole bunch of leaflets and incense and started giving it away in my hometown. Whatever you can do, there's no big... Anyone can do it. You don't even have to speak to preach. Yeah, so easy. Give people prasadam. What's the difficulty? They got to eat. Might as well give them prasadam. You get the point? Yeah. It's a matter of error in your heart. Okay, it's getting late. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Gaur Premanandi.
His Holiness Janananda Maharaja ki jai.
Boo.